Hey there, I'm Bianca.
And we are from Club Sapphire. And boy, that is I say this every time, but I really like your outfit.
Thanks.
It's very distracting that you have the cleavage and things going on there.
Yep. I do what I can.
Excuse me if you
trying to distract you.
Yeah. You do a very good job of it, actually. Sorry, okay. I'm going to look this way now. All right. In case you can't hear, I have actually a little bit of a sore throat going on. We were at a party, and
you know what you always tell me when you have a sore or when I have a sore throat? That, like, I got something to fix that. So I bet someone has something that can fix your sore throat. You just got to be able to, like, gargle cum.
Is that work? Is that...
I don't know. That's what you tell me works.
Oh, yeah, well, sure. Yeah, well, I mean...
do we have any volunteers? Let Matt gargle your cum?
That's a terrible idea. I don't like that idea. No,
I'm just
saying. I think that only works on you or women or...
yeah. I don't know about that.
But... excuse me, but that's sore throats and colds and things are something that seems to come up a bit in the lifestyle.
Sure.
For some reason, that's so odd. Apparently, it has something to do with everybody's making out with each other.
It happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we. This was the next day after kissing quite a few people, and that tends to be what happens. I know we've been on like lifestyle trips, that type of thing, where like the cruises, where at the end of the week, like half the boat is sick. And
I think it's just something you have to expect and something that just happens. I mean, you're doing this hobby where you're doing and making out with doing people and making out with them. That it's just one of the risks you have to take and up your vitamin D.
Right.
Like, that it's gonna happen.
Yeah. Well, because it's happened to me on numerous trips where by the end I have a cold. I mean, I feel fine except for that I got from someone. And
right.
I know when we were on a cruise a few years ago that like we ended up stopping in Mexico. And we went to a pharmacy because...
La
Farmacia. That's right, to pick up some amoxicillin.
Yeah.
Because you don't have a prescription there, and I just got like a big old bottle of it. And
it's probably expired by now.
yeah, it is. It's been a few years, but it's okay. I still like I put them in a little bag or whatever. That's right. I did actually when we were just down in Jamaica last month or so. I pulled out like a dozen of those things out and brought them just in case.
Yeah.
You never know because not that I'm a doctor by any means, but it's one of those things. It's like if you have like strep throat or something like that, it's just horrible when you're on vacation. So, but that's something to keep in mind. I mean, obviously, if you have anything going on, isn't the time to be making out with people,
right?
Because
but isn't it that like if you're sick, aren't you contagious a couple days before you even feel the symptoms?
Well, that's probably why we always end up catching colds whenever we make out with a lot of people. You don't realize
you're sick, and then you come down with the cold a couple days later, and you're like, oh, I just made out with all those people.
That's true. I'm kind of thinking, it's like, okay, I know I caught it. I know when I caught it, but now I'm just kind of wondering, it's like, wow, what happened a couple days before that?
Right.
That I might have given it to someone else or whatever it might be. So, I mean, I guess there's nothing you really can do about that.
There's really not much you can do unless you decide you just don't want to hug and kiss people. And even at that point, you're shaking hands with people. You're, even if you kiss them on the cheek and not the lips, like it's just you're around a lot of people, and it's just gonna happen.
Yeah.
So take extra vitamin C, and we usually up our vitamin C if we're going on a trip or we know a big party's coming up. Like we usually add more vitamin C to our diets, just for preventative.
Yeah.
In case. I mean, that doesn't even mean that you're not going to catch anything.
Right.
But if I'm not feeling like if I've got a cold or whatever, I'll tell people like, you might not want to kiss me, and I leave it up to them. Risk it or don't.
Well, that's an interesting topic that you brought up. Now, would you say that you could actually use that as an argument not to kiss someone?
Well, I suppose you could.
Because I know there have been times.
But you don't want it to be where, like, you run into... That's the thing that, like, we've talked about several times with the lifestyle is you want to tell people the truth. As difficult as that might be. I don't want to kiss you, in a nice way.
Right, in a nice way, yeah.
But you don't want to say, oh, I'm sick, because... next time that person wants to kiss you, are you going to use that same excuse?
That's a good point.
So you don't want to do that. Don't, like, go down that rabbit hole of, I'm sick. Oh, I have another cold. Oh, I'm just so delicate that, and then what happens when you're sick, and then you go over to the other area and you're, like, totally macking on someone else, and then that person sees you and they're like, well, I thought you were sick. Right. Are you going to, like, make the lie even bigger and be like, oh, well, yeah, I'm sick, but they didn't care because they don't care if they're sick. Like, it just makes it bigger. It's better to just be honest with someone.
Well, see, now I personally, if there was a woman that was, super attractive and super into me, and she told me that she was sick, I'd be like, it's worth the risk.
Yeah, you would.
Yeah, I totally would. I'm catching that cold. It's worth it tonight.
No, I don't know if I would do that.
You wouldn't catch a cold? Okay.
No. Depends on the guy, probably.
All right. So okay, you're here at Sapphire, right? You're out there talking to people.
Because there's other stuff other than like
and
kissing
then suddenly
right on the mouth.
Suddenly that Magic Mike guy comes in here. And I can't think of his name. He comes in here. And
I would be way too shy to talk to him, so I'd run the other direction.
No. And then he's like, "So I heard Bianca's here." and he's like, "I really, really want to make out with her, but I have this little bit of a cold." And then he starts talking to you, and he starts doing his little that dance that he does in that movie. What's it called?
What?
That dance that he does in that movie.
He doesn't do a specific dance.
You know that one that you always play that song for, that guy's dancing?
Pony?
Pony,
it's a
right.
song, it's not a dance.
So he starts dancing a pony, and you're like all turned on. And then he's like, Bianca, just to let you know, I wouldn't mind going in the back with you, but I have a little bit of a cold. I might give you something. What is your response?
I think it would depend on, honestly,
there's depending
my
still?
schedule for the next week. How badly do I have to go to work?
Wow,
I don't know.
That's interesting. I would have thought you would have been like, it's just totally worth it. Just
I'll
eat some oranges tomorrow, and that will be. No, okay, all right. Okay.
Are you kidding me? When you were sick, I was like, stay away from me. Like, I barely touched you.
Well, yeah, but you see me all the time.
I sat on the opposite side of the couch the whole time. When I'd kiss you, be like on the cheek or the forehead. I'm like, keep those germs away from me.
That's true. You did.
I did.
Yeah, well, but you see me all the time. That's the difference between Magic Mike guy and...
It's true.
Yeah, exactly. Worth the risk. All right. So that's, I guess, what you have to figure out. Is it worth the risk to make out that person or not?
Maybe. I don't know.
Me, my entry into that is much lower.
Right. You're way sluttier than I am.
I am a bit sluttier than you,
yes.
So I would be okay with that.
Yeah.
So, but we, that is something that we have run into on, a lot of trips, and a lot of things where people do really get sick. So, up those vitamins.
It is okay to say, truthfully, I am sick, I don't feel well, I'm just not kissing anybody tonight. Or even if you still come and you feel fine, but you don't want to play or whatever, but you just want to socialize, just like, you want to keep the illness at home.
Right.
But if you're feeling better, maybe let people know that you're not 100% so you don't spread that shit.
Right. Which is actually will be me tonight. I feel perfectly fine now. A few days ago I was on my deathbed, but right now I feel perfectly fine. But you can still hear it in there. Mm-hmm. So, I'm not going to be making out with people. Unfortunately, I'll be respectful, go from there. So, so that's something to keep in mind.
Yeah.
Something that actually someone had brought to my attention, which is kind of segued that way, would be, as far as safety is concerned and getting, spreading sicknesses and that type of thing, I guess would be actually condoms, mm-hmm. Which obviously is a very different thing, but that someone had actually asked if you have a preference in condoms.
Me personally?
Yes. Or actually both of us, but I mean, do you have a preference in condoms?
Latex free. I have a latex allergy. It doesn't bother me if it's just like a onesie twosie thing, but if I'm very busy, like on some of our vacations that we've been on, if I use latex condoms often than I have a reaction to the latex.
Okay.
I've actually often thought of using the female condom.
Well, that was actually my next question was going to be about
because there have been issues with myself, but other women that I've talked to where certain guys think that it's okay to not put one on and not tell you. And, you know, some of you out there could be like, how does that happen? Like, whatever, how do you not know? It happens when they just kind of slip it and you have no idea, and then they finish and you're like, what the fuck just happened? So it does happen. And so I've thought, you know, or if you've had a little bit too much to drink, maybe you shouldn't have been back there, but you don't know because you've had too much, and then they just do it. And I know I'm not the only person that that's happened to. We've heard several stories from women. So for me, the idea of using the female condom is a way of protecting myself with someone that I don't know and that I'm not comfortable with. I would much prefer they use a condom because, like, I've never used a female condom. I've heard of them. I've kind of looked at them in the packaging. I've never, like, seen one open or anything. But they just seem weird and loud and kind of just gross to me because they fit over the whole, like, outside of you. They're big.
Right.
And it just sounds like a paper bag or plastic bag or whatever. And it just seems kind of weird. And, like, I don't know how, like, when you move, like, does it shift or adjust or whatever. But I think if I was going to be with someone I didn't know very well and I didn't trust, I mean, I try not to be with people I don't 100% trust.
Right.
Like, I am more picky of the two of us.
Right.
But if I was in an experience where it was just someone that I didn't know very well, then I might do that just to protect myself because it's, you know, my safety is very important to me, and no one is, if you're in a room alone, no one's going to protect you but you, so you kind of have to stand up for yourself. So that's kind of why I've thought of looking into the female condom for myself. It doesn't really totally matter for me because I don't play that way. I like to get to know someone better. I want to have some sort of a connection with them before I jump into bed. I'm not just hop into bed like, hey, nice to meet you, let's go fuck person. And I'm okay with that. That's me, that's who I am. So there's going to be usually a little bit of, okay, I trust you at this point. Not always, because the person that this happened with, we had several times together, and it happened on our last time together. And so, again...
And that's called stealthing. Stealthing is becoming a common term, unfortunately, that you know, guys are being sneaky. I know I was with someone... I was in a group situation probably a year or two ago, and I know that, I had put a condom on, and I was, like, waiting because she was with, like, another guy, and so I was, like, kind of just, like, ready. And then when he moved out of the way, I, you know, went in there, and she's like, well, did you put a condom on? I'm like, yeah. And she's like, oh, okay. Just because of the speed, there wasn't, like, the turnaround of me putting it on, because I had already had it on. So, I mean, those are things that, you know, just paying attention is important. But I've thought about something as far as, or I'd actually heard about someone talking about this, about the female condom, which actually is exciting to me. I would think would be very awesome. Okay, so in porn, it's a very, very common thing that guys with two girls, and of course that's a very common thing, especially when people are new to the lifestyle, is let's bring another girl into the party. And if you're a guy and you're playing with two women, especially if one of them isn't your spouse or whatever it might be, that you actually have to put a condom on, and then you want to take that condom off and put another one on to get in the other girl, and then back and forth, that type of thing. And you could, I mean, that's a hassle, and you run out of condoms and all that kind of stuff. So there could be factors in that. But if in that same exact scenario, if both of the women had female condoms on, then the guy could just go back and forth 100 times in there, which is like the total. That's the hottest thing ever from a fantasy standpoint. Which of course you see, like I said, you see in porn, but isn't that realistic unless both of the women you're okay with being bareback with. That could be an issue, or that fantasy never comes true. So that's one of those things where I'm like, yeah, we definitely need to try that female condom out specifically for scenarios like that, because that sounds pretty amazing to me. Or if I was with you and another woman, obviously I'm not going to be using a condom with you, but I would be with her, so she could have a female condom on. And again, I can go back and forth that way and not have to worry about cross-contamination with both of the women that way. So, that's something that would be pretty awesome to try.
And I think for us, like when we first got into lifestyle, I really left the condom thing up to you. Like I never carried them. I didn't do anything. Like it was all really up to you. And I think that for me, that was me, because I was not 100%, like, not that I wasn't comfortable, but just I had never used condoms. I wasn't like, what do I do? Like, I don't know.
Right.
But I think as women in this, we need to stand up for ourselves, and we need to carry our own condoms. Carry what you like. Carry 2 sizes, because hopefully, you can use one or the other. Like, which flavor do you want? Large or regular,
or pinky
but
size.
it's carry what you like. Because it's important for your own health and safety. If you want to use the female condom, use the female condom. I mean, I can't imagine a man is going to complain about that, because a lot of men in the lifestyle have problems because like getting it up or keeping it hard, because they're not used to using condoms with their spouse or their partner. So a lot of men complain about, I got to use a condom. I can't feel it as much, whatever. And it's like, well, apparently with the female condom, it's easier for them. So maybe that's a way to go. I don't know. It's something that, you could definitely try and see it works for you and that kind of stuff. But I do think it's very important that we as women take charge of taking care of ourselves. And if that means that you carry a bunch of condoms or female condoms and you just hand it to them, that's what you have to do. When I was with someone somewhat recently in a situation where I was like, I didn't know this person very well, but I was willing to go to the back. I was like, you're wearing a condom and you're wearing one the whole time. And he was like, well, yeah, of course. I'm like, okay, we're just getting that out of the way first. And he was totally great with it, and I didn't have any problems. But, it's something that, I know I've definitely been like, how do you talk about this? You know what? You just fucking do, because you just do.
Safety first.
And no one really, it's not a big deal to have that conversation.
Not in the lifestyle, it's not a big deal.
No, it's not. And if it is a big deal, maybe you need to kick that person out of bed. If that person's like, resistant to wearing the type of condom you want or whatever, then maybe they're not a good match for you.
Sure.
And that could be a red flag.
Yeah. Well, if you actually have used a female condom, either the men or the women or both of you, please definitely talk about it in the comments below. We'd love to hear what your opinions are if you've used them and if you like them. It's becoming much more prevalent in the last few years, so it's kind of exciting, and it's just something that we just haven't done yet. But I know people are starting to try those, so definitely let us know what you think about those, and maybe we'll start using them. I don't know. We'll see. Perfect. Well, thank you so much for watching. Make sure that you follow Club Sapphire on Twitter. They have a really great Twitter account with lots of stuff going on there. I know a lot of people are on Twitter. And
check out the calendar.
See what
events are coming up.
Exactly. And, of course, join the Facebook group and see what everybody's talking about. It changes every single day. There's conversations on there every single day about the lifestyle and about our amazing local club. Of course, go to www.sapphire.net. Like you said, look at the events page, see what amazing events are coming up. There's lots of sexy things that I'm always excited about. You're excited because you get to dress up. So I could dress up and I get to creative. Look at you, which I have not. So that is, thank you.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. Anything else you want to say?
No. Come visit us at a party.
All right.
Come
perfect.
say hi.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.